So, shall we start by doing a recap of last week? Went on to do more tests, right? People giving you ideas. You begin to propose that this is what I'm actually going to do. Then you come to the stage 4 of testing or verifying whether your product is acceptable to the customer, the group that you're focusing on. So this is what we called last week the customer discovery, how you can discover your customers by taking some of the products, having conversations with them before you actually finally come out with the product. Okay, so where am I now? Okay, so we're here now. So what do you see? By the way, how many of you were able to watch the video with the link I sent you? How many of you were able to? How many of you? Okay, Samuel.
What video? The network is breaking here.
There was a video on the platform I sent this morning. Samuel, you are the only one who was able to see it. Sorry, good.
Yes, it was on the Uber. It was on Uber, right? It was on this module used in the Uber use case.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. So it's only Samuel who watched it. Is that the case? Okay. So at least it was
No,
there.
please. I did watch it also.
Nana, you saw it as well. Okay, so
Yes,
at least it
please.
was there. I just want to make sure that I'm not hallucinating or anything. Okay, anybody can tell me the difference between this one and what we did last week? And for those of you who didn't see it, okay, no problem. Yeah, any differences? Similarities, differences between this one and the other one?
Okay, well, I would say this one is more loaded. It goes in depth, and I think it targets all other aspects, including the revenue streams and the key metrics and other channels as well. So I think this one is more in depth. It goes into detail.
We had revenue streams, we had cost structure. So okay, now look at it. What didn't we have? Let's talk about what is different from the other one.
I think the unique value proposition wasn't there. The unfair advantage wasn't there as well.
Let's see. The word wasn't there, unfair advantage. What else?
Unfair advantage. Unique value proposition. Key metrics.
Okay, go on.
Yes, please. I think these three were in there. I could remember.
Who else? Because there are more. Who else?
Like also on the, okay.
If you raise your hand, then I can call you. Okay, so Bashir.
Okay, good afternoon. My name is Bashir Abdulbasit from Nigeria. Problem wasn't there last week. It was replaced with what's it called? Partnership.
Key partnership.
Then key partnership, yeah. So that's the only one I can see now for now.
Bakari.
Yes, thank you. Like when it comes to the revenue stream also, that was something that was also missing on the one we did the last time, looking at the time value.
Did you say revenue stream?
Yes.
Are you sure it was missing from last time?
I mean, under that, there is that part that was not actually there, like the lifetime value.
No, forget about what is underneath. It's a different company, so you would see things differently. But that's fine. Great time.
have key metrics
Mhm.
on the business model canvas, but we have it here on the lean model canvas.
What are the similarities between this one and the business model canvas?
Under the key metrics, well, I still see key activities, which sort of tells me it's probably going to measure. On the business model canvas, we had a whole session for activities. So probably the key metrics is going to measure those activities we carry out.
Okay, what else?
There's also unfair advantage here, which wasn't found on the business model canvas.
Okay, Samuel.
Yeah.
I think customer relationships is not here, but it was on the business model canvas.
So I'm looking for similarities. You're still giving me differences. Emmanuel.
Oh, similarities.
Emmanuel.
Oh, cost stream.
What about it?
Cost structures.
What about it?
Yeah, it is not in the business canvas.
Are you sure?
Oh, sorry.
Okay, so
I can go ahead if you let me. You
Okay.
said you wanted similarities, right?
Yes.
So similarities, there's customer segments, channels, unique value proposition, revenue stream, cost structure. They all similarities.
What else? I'm looking for something. What else?
Something.
The channel part.
I mean, it's the same. I guess it's the same. It's the same way of looking at it with like the different. When on one side you have definitely your market, and on the other side you have your product. I think it's similar in that aspect. Also in terms of like the different cases, we have to fill out.
How many boxes? How many segments do you have?
9, just like the other one.
9 boxes. Yeah.
So it's the same. That's where you start from, and then just that some things have been replaced. Now the replacement is as a result of, remember what I said, this one is used to test your product idea, whereas that one, the other one, and anybody knows who came up with the lean canvas model? Do you know the name?
No, ma.
So you didn't check, you haven't checked, you didn't read, watch the movie. Okay, well, all right. So
No, about the lean.
no
About lean
problem.
startup, Eric Rice. I don't know if that's the same guy.
Sorry?
Said I know about the lean startup, which was created by Eric Rice. I don't know if it's the same person that did about the lean canvas.
You do watch the movie, the video? You did not.
The one you sent.
No problem. Okay, so let's discuss this. So we've got these 9 areas, right? Some of them are very familiar to you. So let's take this one and say, I have an idea in my mind of a business idea, what I would like to do, right? A business I would like to pursue. Now, this is how the lean canvas was. Well, this is how the model was before it was upgraded. But let's look at it from the left-hand side. So no, the middle one, we always start from the middle, right? So the middle one, you've got the unique value proposition, which is likely to be the same as which one? That's likely to be
The value proposition.
Canvas, right? A VPC.
Yes.
Okay. So in this case, we're looking for a very clear, single, compelling message. Remember that this is now me starting, right? Or should I say you starting? So clear message, right? That states why you are different from all the others and why you are worth buying from. So even though most of you are in business, or not all, if not all of you are in business, if I were to ask you to do this assignment, and say to you, so can you give me a single, clear, compelling message So write that down for me because that's going to be another assignment. Very soon you're going to discuss that. I would like you to now begin to think of a single, clear, compelling message that tells me why you are one, different from all the others, and then two, worth buying from, why I should buy from you, okay? Then you come to, okay, so let's look at the product first, and then we'll look at the market. So product, so problem. So think of maybe top 3 problems that exist. So again, Grace Ann and Emmanuel, if you can put your hand down, unless you are asking a question, are these old hands or new hands? So that I know who to call. Okay. So again, back to Grace's work, right? Business. So she would have started with 3 top problems that she thought. So I remember her saying last week that one of her challenges was that her skin was very sensitive and that her mom or parents could not find the right cream for her, the moisturizer for her. So what would be, Grace, let me stay with you for a moment. What would be the 3 problems you thought or you identified before you came up with your product? If you have only 2, that's fine.
Someone comes to talk to their parents.
I'm listening, please. Grace Ann.
Yes, Doc, I'm here.
Answer, please.
All right, so the 3 problems I identified were my dry skin beginning to peel off or breakouts, for lack of a better word. Then I also realized that it was as a result of needing to wake up very early to get to work. So I don't have the luxury of going through a long skincare routine to have a very nice skin. So the problem was time. Yes, if I'm putting it out. Yes, so I want an effective product. At the same time, I don't have the luxury of time to have a 7-step routine or 8-step routine. Yes, so I'm looking at something which I can just apply and will still yield the same result I'm going through. That was the second problem. Then the third problem is a problem of basically finding a product which is free from toxins, because before then I had read so many people in the States had sued Johnson & Johnson for their baby powder because they realized that they were causing health problems to their children. So some of these ingredients used in these large scale in the mainstream industry.
So Grace Ann, stay with me. So the first one was a medical problem, right? The breakout of your skin, medical problem. The second one was time. And then the third one was about toxins, right?
Yes, please.
Okay, so toxin-free or chemical-free cream is what you're looking for. Yuwande, can you kindly turn your
No.
Yuwande, can you hear me? David, can you mute him for me, please? David, can you mute this person? Can you hear me? So these are the 3 problems we have, right?
Yes.
And then we will look for the solutions. Okay. So what is the solution to medical problem? What is the solution to time? And then what is the solution to having natural products? Okay, you're looking for the solution. Please hold on 1 second. Please hold on. Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, we can hear
So
you.
you look for the 3 solutions to your 3 problems, right? And then you come to the key matrix, right? Which would be your key activities that you measure. These ones are not very different from the ones we had last week in terms of key activities, as somebody had clearly said. Cost structure is not different very much, but remember that the cost structure for a new idea would be, you'll be projecting, right? Because it's an idea. So you're going to say to yourself, customer acquisition costs, distribution costs, hosting costs, people costs, all of these things will be costs that would be, you're projecting into, this is how much. So if you were doing a cost structure, proper portion, how much will you put aside for customer acquisition? Your customer acquisition might just be the first 10 people, for example, as you're now beginning to set up the business, okay? Then on the right-hand side, let's start from the bottom, your revenue streams. You have to design a revenue model, then you have things like the lifetime value, and then the revenue itself, then your cost margin, your gross margin, your, what do you call it, your profit margin, all of those things that you would do in business, you know, that you will project and say, I will get, it's likely that I will get X, Y, Z. Those things are also there. Then we had channels already, right, from last time, part to the customers. In this case, you are sort of going towards them, right? So as a new setup, you're now going around asking people, would you like, because nobody knows it at this point in time, would you like to try? Would you like to try? Would you like to try? Okay, until the first person tries, and then later they start coming to you to say, can I buy? Can I buy? Can I buy? Then I'm saving this one for last. We have your customer segments. Okay, who is your target customers? So Grace Ann, you had said that for babies, okay? And I suppose the question would be, is it just babies 0 to what? Or do you graduate a bit from maybe 0, you've got something for 0 to 1, and then you've got something from 1 to 5, for example, or 1 to 6, something like that, right? So the last one I want to talk about is the unfair advantage. So you were looking for, as an idea, Grace, when you were starting and you had your 3 problems and your 3 solutions and your statements, that telling, short, compelling statements that tells everybody why you are different from the others and why they should buy from you. Then the next thing would be, do you have any unfair advantage, right? And you should look for it. You should look for an unfair advantage. Unfair advantage is an advantage that cannot be easily copied or bought. Who can give me an unfair advantage in Grace Ann's situation? What would be an unfair advantage, for example?
For example, for example, meeting up timelines with customers. In my case, like you do make, for example, gates for people. The timeline is something that is a big issue in the continent. They will give you 2 weeks and they will finish the product in 3 weeks. So if you are somebody who is really committed to meeting timelines, I think that is something that cannot be easily copied.
Listen to the word, it cannot be easily copied or bought. Do you think timelines cannot be easily copied?
Doctor, can I also make contribution?
Okay, please put your hand up so that I can even see who is talking, because so please give me a hand so I know who's talking. But yes, go on, please, whoever you are. Can't see it.
Okay, I think in her, I think in her case, what will be the unfair advantages when she's able to come out with a unique natural formulation that will solve all the 3 problems. That will be unfair advantage on her part, because it will be very difficult for other competitive in the market also come out with the same product. And as she being the first person to come out with that product, she have the upper hand and had a customer trust. Thank you.
Okay, who else? Who else? And what's an unfair advantage? Success, sorry, your hand is up. Success, yes, please.
Yes, I was just thinking about what could be an unfair advantage for her, for Grace, and I'm thinking that because she identifies with the problem and it's something that she really wants to solve, that there is a push, because whatever she is using doesn't work for her. So there is a push to find a solution. And if someone else wants to do the same business but doesn't really find that push to move on, after researching and researching, the person might give up.
What's the success? What if somebody's skin was worse than Grace? Somebody who had competitor. What if the person's skin was worse than Grace? Are you saying that they will not have the push? I mean, from the logic that you create, then it means that the worse your skin is, the more motivation you have, right? We're talking about something that cannot be easily, motivation can easily be learned. Making it the final product can easily, there are things that are unfair advantages. So for example, let me give you one. Okay. For example, she has access to finance in a way that nobody has, right? It gives her an unfair, she has endless money. She comes from a very rich family that she doesn't have to think about, even if the product goes wrong, not a problem. They put in more money, they pump more money, that could be, finance could be an unfair advantage. Another advantage could be, let's say that she has direct access to the market. So everyone, like she's so connected to all of the markets, so that in a way that the market will get from none other than her, right? That's an unfair advantage, because if all the markets say you are the best person or you are the only person they want to take, whose products they want to buy, that's an unfair advantage. What else do you think? Something that cannot be easily. So you've got market advantage, you've got finance advantage. What other kinds of advantages do you think? Okay, so you think about it, and let's move on. So remember, this is what I've just tried to do, to juxtapose the old and the new. And then we will see, you saw all the differences. You already mentioned the differences. So really, it's not. So this is the video that I shared online for you to watch. I won't play it because you should have watched it. So now let's do this. Let's go here. And let me just, David, are you there? 1 second, let me find.
Hello, please, I'm here.
David, can you hear me?
Yes, please, I can hear you.
Okay, please, can I have, okay, yes, while you're doing that, can I have a breakout rooms, please? Of maybe 5s. Let's make it 5. Yes, no, yes,
okay,
please. Let's make it 5 this time. While he's doing that for us, now here is if you need to capture it so that when you have the conversation in your sessions, you can, but you know what? Okay, I'll give you a minute to capture it, because that's what you're going to take into. So another unfair advantage is, for example, when you have already an existing brand that works, right? And so let's say a brand like Apple. If Apple comes up with a new product, because they already have that brand that is associated, even if it's not an Apple brand, but we know that, let's just say a company like a product, they come up with a new brand called, let's say, 4DX, right? 4DX, if we know that 4DX is from Apple, because of that brand association, it becomes already an unfair advantage, and only 1 or 2 people would ever have that. Okay, so people can't beat you that's already that. If you have unfair advantage to resources, so for example, let's say that blah, 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 Grace Ann was competing with some European companies, right? And a big part of her products, her resources for her cream has, involves the use of cocoa, okay? And it's the Ghana or Ivorian type of cocoa. Then simply on account of being very close to the resource, or maybe even shea butter, being very close to the resource, she's here and then the other person is in Europe, who is going to have the advantage if the base of the product is say 60% shea butter? Who's going to have the advantage, right? Definitely that she's going to have it from here. So it's something that the other person cannot imitate. So I've given you quite a number of them. Okay, whether it's from a product point of view. Sorry, do you have a question?
Doctor, I just want to say something about this unfair advantage. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yes, please go for it.
Like in the case of the product branding on TikTok, you see that Cardi Lame has that unfair advantage because of his name that he's already got for himself. Like one social status can be an advantage. For example, if Rihanna should go into selling skin products compared to me who doesn't have that name, she might have that unfair advantage over me because of her name that she's already got like that. Does that make
sense? Yeah, it's something similar to akin to what I'm talking about. So yes, it does make sense. Thank you for that. If anybody has any others.
Please, the rooms are ready.
Pardon?
Please, the rooms are ready.
Okay, David, just 1 second. Give me a second, please.
Today we will have a look at the Lean Canvas. A tool designed by Ash Murray.
Could you hear that? Could you hear it?
Yes, ma'am, we can hear.
Yet to help startups analyze the strengths and weaknesses of Hi, today we'll have a look at the Lean Canvas, a tool designed by Ash Maria to help startups analyze the strengths and weaknesses of their business model. And also we will practice using Lean Canvas on the Uber example. To work out your business activities, you need a business plan. A good business plan requires a massive amount of work. But how can you verify your idea before investing so much time and effort? Lean Canvas can help you with that. You need a Lean Canvas if you want to create a product that will be in demand in the fast-changing market. This tool allows startup founders to mitigate the risk and uncertainty associated with the product inception. The Lean Canvas is a one-page document consisting of 9 boxes to be filled in. It originates from Alex Osterwalder's business model canvas. Initially, the last one was designed for well-established businesses and not really applicable to startups. That's where Lean Canvas comes in. Its key difference from the business model canvas is its problem-solution-oriented approach and focus on the customer. To address this, the 4 business model canvas boxes, namely key partners, key activities, key resources, and customer relationships, were replaced with problem, solution, key metrics, and unfair advantage respectively. That helps founders focus their products on resolving their customers' problems instead of specific features of the product. In practice, it doesn't take a huge amount of time to fill in the Lean Canvas. We recommend you to stick to the following order, but it's not obligatory, and you're free to choose the way you feel comfortable with. Let's do this together through the example of the world-known peer-to-peer ride-sharing app, Uber, back when it was getting off the ground. We should start by defining the target customer. Many startup founders suffer from a common misconception called "everybody needs my product." Narrow down the customer segment as accurately as possible. You'll be able to expand it later on if you blossom out. Uber offers its service to passengers and drivers. The passenger segment can be split narrower by demographics, type of usage, and socioeconomic characteristics. Drivers also divide into users who opt for Uber as a full-time job solution and those who leverage it in addition to their main job. It's best to mark each segment in different colors your convenience. In the early adopters section, you can specify the actual people who will be the first to use the raw product and provide feedback. These may include first customers, developers, friends, and even you, the startup founder. In the problem box, we refer to customer problems that your product is meant to solve. If you have several customer segments with different problems, you may make separate canvases for each of them. Here, we have specified problems for passengers and drivers separately. Therefore, we've got such problems as expensive taxi service, availability of cabs, long waiting time during the rush hours, advanced booking is often required, and lack of driver profile for passengers. Drivers need extra income, a part-time job opportunity, and awareness of who they are going to drive. In the existing alternatives section, you should place your closest competitors that are already solving the specified problems. We split the Uber existing alternatives according to different user segments. So passengers can opt for public transport, a taxi service, or ride with a friend. And drivers are limited to taxi service and other full or part-time jobs to get income. The product you are going to create must bring revenue. Usually, entrepreneurs use the cost-based approach, where you need to calculate costs and add a margin. However, we recommend you to rely on the average value required for the customer to solve the problem. For example, Uber takes around 25% of the pay for each ride. All problems you specified in the neighboring box should be matched by the relevant solutions. Explain what experience the customers are meant to have. Uber offers a cheaper ride opportunity, wide car network, fast pickup, route tracking, as well as drivers and passengers' ratings to solve the mentioned problems. Cooperation with your target customers will allow you to learn their needs and offer the most suitable solution. It's no accident that the unique value proposition box takes the central part of the link canvas. The unique value proposition is a brief message which is meant to attract customers' attention. You need to describe the uniqueness of your product and show its key difference from the existing alternatives. Uber attracts customers not only with its speed and low price, but also a package of services in one app, which allows you to find a safe ride 24/7, 365. Drivers, in turn, opt for Uber as they can work on their own schedule, manage their revenue, navigate the route through the app, and forget about taxi license issues. In the lower part of the unique value proposition box, there is a place for creating a high-level concept, a short and easy-to-understand statement about your product. It's a kind of elevator pitch you will use when addressing your product. As an example, Uber is like a taxi, but cheaper, safer, and more flexible. Even the most groundbreaking product on the market can fail if the customers are not aware of it. Specify communication channels to reach out to your target audience. In our canvas, Uber relies on PR, word of mouth, and user referrals. Define key tracking metrics to measure the progress of your business. Initially, you can do with one key metric like minimum success criteria, meaning the outcome that can be deemed a success. Later on, you can expand your link canvas with other vital metrics. As for Uber, they factor in the number of users and rides, money earned, and referred users. The fixed and variable costs find their place in the cost structure box. These may include costs for the office rent, hardware, recruitment, market research, etc. It's enough to narrow your time window to a particular milestone like a product release or achieving the first 100 customers. Once your cost structure box is filled in, you can balance it with revenue streams and get answers to such questions as how many customers do I need to pay off the investments, where is the break-even point, and others related to the winning outcome. In our example, let's focus on costs for product development, infrastructure and support, as well as the marketing expenses and salaries. The last step in the link canvas is your unfair advantage. This term denotes a special thing about your idea that your competitors are not able to copy or obtain in any possible way. Unfair advantage may include a good reputation, exclusive access to some data, personal authority, community, or any other unique advantage. It's not necessary to seek out your competitive advantage right now. You can fill in this box later when some other things have started to go in your favor. When Uber was founded, its unfair advantage was the experience the application offered: low-priced rides at the push of the button. That's it. Remember that your lean canvas can and needs to be changed once you get new feedback from your customers. While you're in a startup mode, you're still testing various hypotheses. Some get confirmed, some don't. But make sure you adjust your lean canvas according to the facts and not how you wished things were. This was the introduction to the lean canvas model from Railsware. If you're
Okay, guys, so you got this, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So we're going to go breakout room and then look into your, and it doesn't have to be amongst your group, right? Even if all of you already have businesses, that's fine. But I suspect that can you see my new screen?
Yes,
Hello?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I suspect that you may have
Yes.
a business and yet you may have another
Yes.
business here, right? So Nana Kusi or Grace Ann or whoever, you may already be married, but if you have an idea, a new something you're thinking about as the next thing to do, I would like you all to identify it in your various groups, right? And then start populating the the boxes using this kind of data. You may have to read, I mean, the whole idea of watching the movie ahead of time, the video ahead of time, was to give you that advantage to be able to now understand this properly, but it seems like you didn't read it. Anyway, so let's give you 15 minutes. If you can go into your breakout rooms, that would be great, and then you can do this. David, are we ready? Hello, David. Hello, David, can you hear me? David, can you hear me? Can you all see your breakout rooms?
No,
Not
not for
yet.
me.
Oh.
Doctor, please, I'm ready.
Yes, please, we're ready for the breakout.
What is in my email? What I mean?
Why would you? How many, please, how many per room?
Oh, I did say 5 in a
Sorry,
group.
sorry, please, I didn't get it. Please forgive me.
That's okay. Okay, guys, so remember that the whole idea of this, you know, the difference, the big difference between the BMC and this LMC, some people just call it the lean canvas, others call it the lean model. That's why I put the model in brackets. So whether you're referring to it as an LMC or an LC, sorry, a lean canvas. The big difference between this one and the BMC is that this one is meant for new ideas, you know, new ideas. So a lot of you would have passed this stage already in terms of the business, like someone like Grace Ann would have passed this stage already. That's how she was able to explain to us what. However, she may be nursing a new idea. So we're going to use those new ideas to come up so that you will never found wanting, right? I'm equipping you in such a way that if you already have an existing business, by all means, go ahead, use the BMC model and create for yourself a brilliant business plan. If you don't have the business already running, and it's just an idea in your mind, then use this lean canvas to also begin to create, you know, another business plan or business. This is now the stage where you are thinking through it. it feeds right back into the customer discovery cycle, right? It feeds into that place that you were. So yeah, I just want you to be able to take another 15. Now it's getting on to 13. David, are we ready? David, are we ready?
Yes, I'm still assigning.
Oh, you're still assigning. Okay. Any questions so far? I personally think that, you know, this course is perhaps, I mean, in terms of business, for any of you who are business minded, I wish I knew this at your ages. You know, really. I mean, every time I teach it, I wish that somebody had pointed me in that direction, because people at my age were still struggling with writing a business plan, understanding what we're doing. If you're able to put your thoughts, and again, when we come to making the distinction between the African entrepreneur and the Western entrepreneur, right? Their culture is such that they tend to do the writing, they write, they journal, they get all of these things ahead. I mean, again, here we are, you know, a lot of us talk about, you know, it's funny because when we talk about, when we point fingers, I was saying this last week, remember that when you point one finger, the rest of it is also pointing back at you, you know? So all of you people who will say, oh, Yali is this, Yali is that, Yali is not working, Yali is not doing this. Then I ask you to watch a video and you can't even watch it. So how are you preparing for class? You know, but this is how the others go ahead of you. Anyway, are you all in groups now? Let me check that. David, are we done? Please.
Yes, please.
Yeah, I think we use the back of the bodies to describe the qualities of an entrepreneur.
No, I'm talking about soft skills. Have we not done a psychometrics? Is this a first psychometrics we've done?
No, this is the second one.
Yeah, what was the first? Yeah.
I think
The first was on time management.
Exactly, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
time management.
Right. So do you still have that psychometrics? I don't think I deleted it.
Yes, we do.
Okay. So you've done 2 psychometrics now in this training time, so you should be able. I wonder what has. So, Grace Ann, you are the one who had the time management thing, right?
Yes, Doc.
Okay. Okay. All right. I remember that. So I know how you remember it. And then I don't know the rest of these things you did, the time management, whether you've been using it, you know, because there's no point in being taught all of these things only for you to, I mean, engage with it in the moment, in that 2 hours of session, and then that's it. You know, so is anybody apart from, I think Grace Ann was the one who brought the feedback. Has anybody been aware? Have you taken cognizance of that since we did that, seen where you are and try to improve? I'll be interested to hear that. Anybody at all? How's that learning happening?
I can go again. Yeah, like on time management, I found out that I was in the. I think I was surprised with my result, but I feel like there's more to do, and I've been working on improving that personally. I've been, so yeah.
Okay. Anybody else? Anybody else? Okay. So I think that brings me.
My hand is up. Okay.
Yes. Okay, please go for it. Success. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, time management was also a little issue for me, but now I've been able to correct it, because now what I learned from the psychometric is to break down the tasks into smaller one and assign timelines, and I see that working really well for me.
Fantastic. Any other person? A last hand, and then any other person? Is it that you don't want to speak, or you are not applying it, or you're not engaged with it, or? Okay. All right. So I think this is my last session with you. And so let me just do a recap. Let's just follow through what we have done very, very quickly, right? So we started off by discovering skills of successful entrepreneurs, right? And for me, my most important thing was We looked at these things, you know, the very different types, so that there somewhere. When I share the slides, you should have it. What successful entrepreneurs, the characteristics of successful entrepreneurs, we did that. Then we talked about 2 entrepreneurial skills that you would like to acquire. I hope you remember that. In addition to whatever you have, 2 new skills you would like to acquire. If you didn't have that, start writing that down and how you're going to acquire them. This perhaps for me was my first takeaway. You know, additional entrepreneurial skills African entrepreneurs must have. We talked about that. We introduced 3 R's, if you remember. I hope you remember them. I remember that one of them was resilience, that you have to be extra resilient because of the context in which we operate. Then we talked about critical thinking, right? And that being a higher order or a more complex manner of thinking. We talked about that briefly. Before we went on, we did this, if you remember, we had an exercise around this, right? And then we went on to the leadership pledge, which we have finally finished. Then we looked at the entrepreneurial skills as again, looking at the different types, using the characteristics to form body parts, okay, which Nana Kwesi was very instrumental in giving us a really good version. For me, it shouldn't stop there. You can still continue to do the task because it wasn't exhaustive enough. And there are many parts of the body that you can still find entrepreneurial skills to match, okay? And then we did in this same session was when we first introduced the time management psychometrics, right? So we did that one too. Now these ones are all extra things that the psychometrics are my extras. They're not part of particularly a part of the alias. I said they're my tools that I use in other places and charge good money for. So I just wanted to introduce you to them. It's unfortunate that I didn't have time to train you on it as I would. As I said, it's like a tool that this particular one we've just done, we could have a whole 2-hour conversation on that. But maybe another time, you know, in other places, we will discuss that. It's not a yearly tool, so please don't write them down and say the time for the psychometrics was not enough. I just wanted to, you know, it's an additional that I'll add into it. The second session, we talked about value proposition canvas and the customer discovery cycle, right? So this is what the business canvas looks like with the 9 points. This is where you start from your value proposition. We talked about everything that goes into there. We looked at this one, right? We also went to Netflix. We looked at the Netflix one. We also had an Uber one. I think we also looked at that. You had an activity, which then is now what people have finally. No, actually, in this was one of the breakout rooms. You did all 9. If you didn't exhaust it, it would be good to go back and do that. And these things, you don't need to do them in a group. You can do them on your own. You can sit down. And I've told you that this is so important. It's critical for those of you who would like to use it as a business, you know, go into business and use it. Come, sit people down, say, come, let me do your business plan for you. And this is what you use. You add a bit of vision, mission, values, blah, blah, blah. You're done. So we looked at this. Then we went on to look at the value proposition canvas. And this is where the assignment is. As I said, I will comment on it. I've just been a bit busy. So I will comment on them. I was out of town. I just returned half asleep anyway. So I'll comment on that as we go along. But some of the ones I've seen so far, I mean, I've made comments already in the beginning and this morning. So well done on this one too. Well done on it. It was very good for some of you who've done it. It's not exhaustive, as I was saying, but still, it's a good start. Then we looked at the customer discovery cycle, right? And this one, it tells you how to find your customers, how to discover who your customers are. So we had a look at this as well. We used this activity. Then we came to cultural competence. I did not talk about sales skills because I thought that one we can easily do, but it's here, it's right here. You know, the things, the essential sales skills that you need. But I spent some time talking about this was the second soft skills that I trained you on, which was the cultural competence, to be aware of intercultural nuances, to be culturally nuanced or interculturally nuanced, you know, in how you engage with people, especially those of you who are thinking or who intend to network. It's not enough to say, oh, I have this person in Gambia and I have that other one in Liberia and I have that one. You have to be able to understand all the cultural nuances, and it's important for entrepreneurs, very, very, very critical, especially for African entrepreneurs. So you have to understand how those cultural competences and nuances work. Then now we did this one that I have just done from the bottom. Yeah, today. Okay. Then we came here. So today we were focused on the lean model canvas. What I said about the business model canvas is that is meant for existing business, like early startups, very, very early startups you can use, even for well-established businesses who don't have some of these things written out, you can use. The lean canvas, on the other hand, is for idea generation. So I think Professor Albin would have taught you something on that. You can align this one. I suspect that he mentioned this, right? But when you're generating your ideas, this is a good model to use to be able to write down what your thoughts are. Okay, so we looked at it, 9 squares, just as the other one, few differences, but you're heading towards the same place. It's about problems and solutions and so on. We went into the break, took about a whole half hour to do this. And what I've asked you to do is that if you can finish populating it as a group, that would be great. If you put it online or you send it to me personally, I will be more than happy to have a look and give you your feedback. Again, it doesn't have to be the group. You can decide individually to do your own thing. You don't have to wait for people to get started. That's one of my cultural observations, for Africans. When we go for conferences and stuff, you always find us walking in groups. Somebody's going to dinner, it's all of us going. If somebody's going to the club, it's all of us going. Whereas the other counterparts are very individualistic, and none good or bad. You just have to understand. But sometimes you just have to, what's the word again? Chart your own path. Take the bull by the horn and do your own thing, and don't wait to learn when a group is not ready to learn. Right? Don't wait for the group. If they're not ready, that's fine. You can do it by yourself. It's individual assignment, only that we were put in a group. So we looked at the difference between these two, where there were differences, where there are similarities. We talked about that. There's the video to watch to do that as well. I gave you an activity to do. And these were the guiding questions for the lean canvas. And last but not the least, we did the psychometrics on what's it called, conflict management, which we have just done. Take your time to read more about it, and all these things are online. There's nothing in my on my slides that you can't boy, there's nothing on my slides that you can't find out. I haven't conjured it from anywhere. I also took a lot of them from online anyway. Even the psychometrics, you would find them online. So yeah, so far that's what we have done. Any questions? Any comments?
Yeah, I have a comment.
Go for it.
Yeah. I'm sorry if this doesn't come across so well, but I realize that you're not so happy with how we handle things or our approach to things. And I don't know if I'm speaking for the house, but I want to believe I'm speaking for the house if I say that we're really sorry and we promise to do better, especially on the page. I'm saying this because I noticed you deleted the psychometric, the last one you sent from the page. We don't want to lose out on any information as much as possible. So please, we would like to keep engaging with you. Guys, can you just unmute and support me so that we get Doc to be on our side?
Yeah,
and give us more information. So please, so we are
sorry, ma. We are sorry.
In fact, we will engage full time going forward.
Success, was that you? Was that
Success?
You are so smart.
I wanted to
Success, was that you? Who just spoke? Who just spoke? I can't find. Who was speaking?
We were all speaking together.
No. Who started the conversation?
It was me, Success. It was me.
I just want to say that you're very, very emotionally intelligent.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I raised my hand too. I wanted to say the same thing. Yeah. We're really sorry. We're really sorry. We'll do better.
I was engaged. Do you know what time I was engaging with you? Did you see the time? Were you
Tomorrow,
Like you mean to
5:45
do?
a.m.
Yeah.
I think it was even before. I woke up at 3. As I said, I had traveled. I came back in last night very late, tired, everything. And I realized that because I had been away, that the platform was quiet. So in between all that I had to do, and I had a very early morning training as well, I tried to, psych up the thing. And I give you something to do and you don't do it. Then it just tells me that, why am I wasting my time at 4 a.m. about
No,
you?
you're not,
When you
Yeah,
can
no, it's man.
no, when you are fast asleep. So today my attitude has been okay. Oh, you just give them what you are supposed to give them. Don't bother with them. They themselves.
Yeah, it was 4.
They are not
Please, we
bothering with.
want more. We want more, please.
They are not bothering with you. So why are you bothering?
We are
Why
so
are you
sorry.
bothering with them?
We are so
So
sorry. We are really sorry.
and I
Yeah,
have
sorry,
lived
man.
I have lived this 1,000 different times. So if you want me to give you only what is expected of me, believe me, I will. That one, you and I won't have any conflict. I give you what, then if you do it any way that you choose to, and then you all go home. But if I'm giving you my best and you don't seem to want to engage, maybe I'll go home thinking of
We
myself.
are sorry.
Yeah, sorry, man. Yeah, sorry.
Thank
Hello,
you for
Donna.
forgiving us. Thank you for
We will do
forgiving us. Thank you for
better.
the smile on your
Okay,
face.
you are
Thank
the
you,
one
man.
Thank you
thinking
for
that you do
smiling.
better.
We
You
are
are the
very
one
sorry, though.
thinking you will do better. I will be there to judge, wouldn't I?
Hello,
I'll be
Yes,
the
man.
better
Yes,
judge.
man.
I'll be the better judge. I'll be there to judge. All right
Yes,
then.
sir.
Anyway, I'll be on the platform until the platform is dissolved. So if you need anything, just contact me.
Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much.
man.
Thank you, man.
Thank
God
you,
bless you,
Doc.
man.
Thank you
Thank you,
so
dog.
much.
Questions have
Doc,
been
Thank you.
Doc,
valuable.
We love you.
Thank you,
Love
ma'am.
you. Thank you.
Thank
since
you
you
so
mentioned
much,
if
Doc.
we need something, we should ask. I'm gonna ask on behalf of everybody the psychometric test that is willing to.
You people are too smart. I was hoping to take it out without you noticing anything. And I'll just do it like I leave it. No problem. I'll bring it back. No, not to worry. I'll take it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let me do it now. But it's only for those of you. So I would, those of you who are here, let me somewhere. Because those who are not here, I don't think they want
Grace, can you mute this?
you hear me.
Can you please mute our mics, please?
Can you go again? We couldn't hear. Sorry.
I'm saying that I'll put it there very briefly, and that those of you who are here can pick it up and forward it somewhere to yourself. Those who are not here, I don't think they want it, so there's no
Awesome.
point leaving it there. Anyway, so I posted it back, and in a few,
Is there any cool other psychometric test you have for us?
I have plenty, but I'm not sharing. I have plenty, but I'm not sharing. I'm not sharing. Yeah. So yeah, we'll continue on online.
For real, your sessions were very interesting, and it's right it's very important for us who want to develop businesses. Is what right. It was spot on. Everything, your experience, your interaction with us so far. I think you the one that have made like the most interactive sessions. I mean, Dr. David's session are interactive, but no, I don't think they were as much as yours. So yeah, I mean, I really truly enjoy your session, and it's ending too soon, and hopefully we can meet with you again and chat again.